Dear students, welcome back to CUET detailed explanation of the session Quantitative Aptitude. So here also you have 25 questions. So I just give you a basic idea about the approaching styles towards those types of questions. So most of the questions we can tackle logically. So with the help of the foundation understanding or the basic understanding, you can reach some logical conclusions in most of the questions. Now we can consider our first question. So our first question is a question from time and distance. So Rajesh covers 2/3 of a certain distance at 4 km per hour and the remaining at 5 km per hour. If it takes 42 minutes in all, what is the total distance covered by him? So here we just consider which are the basic relationship between speed, time and distance. Here we know that distance that equal to speed into time. So therefore, what is speed? Speed is equal to distance by time. And what is time? That is distance by speed. So these are the basic relationship. So in our question, it is given that 2/3 of a certain distance covered at 4 km per hour. Suppose we just consider this total distance as x kilometer. Got it? So if we are splitting this total distance into two-thirds of this total distance. 2/3 of this total distance is covered at 4 km per hour. So therefore, we can split this as 2/3 of x. Then what will be the remaining portion? That is 1/3 of x. So this way, we can split it. Or otherwise, we can consider. So these distances are in the ratio 2:1. Are in the ratio 2:1. So what you have to consider? Instead of this kind of a calculation, we just consider the distance as 3x. Then we can split these distances in the form, this first part, that is 2/3 of 3x, that is equal to 2x, and the remaining part, that is equal to 1x. So these are the distances. Don't forget, 3x is the total distance. And here we have the speeds for while covering these two distances separately. Here we are using this condition. So time, because we have the total time given. This 2x distance is covered at 4 km per hour. And this 1x distance is covered at 5 km per hour. So this total time is 42 minutes. 42 minutes, don't forget, here this 2x and 1x are in kilometers and the denominator speeds are in the form of kilometer per hour. So you have to convert this 42 minutes in terms of hours. So therefore this is 42 by 60. So while observing this equation, from this equation you have to find out the value of x. Then after that you have to find out what is 3x. So while observing this equation, we know that if you are multiplying all the equations, all the terms by 60, or both the left hand side and right hand side by 60, we can avoid all the denominators. So if you are multiplying all these terms by 60 on both right hand side and left hand side, what will happen? This is 2 by 4 into 60. So that's equal to 30x. And another one, 1 by 5 into 60. So that is 12x, which is equal to 42. So what you will get? This is 42x equal to 42. What is the value of x? X equal to 1. So what we assumed as a total distance here? So our total distance, we assumed that as 3x. So therefore, what is 3d distance? That is 3x, which is equal to 3 into 1. So that is 3 km. So this is the total distance. So the answer is option C, or third option. So understand that concept. Here we are equating the time. So here we have the total time for covering this entire distance through these different speeds. Here this ratio type of approach, that's very important for this particular question. Move to the second question. The spring balance of a trader weighed 800 grams for 1 kilogram. What is the net result if it a profit or loss, and by what percent? First of all, understand the situation clearly. So what happened there? So this weighing machine, so he made some malpractices or some tricky arrangements on the weighing machine. Due to this kind of a faulty arrangement, what happened? This weighing machine weighing exactly 800 gram when it shows 1 kilogram. So that means in each 1 kilogram, he is actually selling only 800 gram. So how we can connect it? While selling, that means selling price of 800 gram. At that time, what he will receive? So he will get back the cost price of 1000 gram. That's the simple logic here. Selling price of 800 gram, that is equal to cost price of 1000 gram. So this is a direct relationship. In most of the questions like this, we can apply the ratio kind of approach for finding the answer. Suppose if we are framing such a relationship, this is simply 8 SP, that is same as 10 CP. Or this is, you can frame it as a ratio SP by CP, which is equal to 10 by 8. So you can simplify both these values by 2. Here you will get this is simply 5 by 4. Now we know what will be the next step. Once we will get the selling price cost price ratio like this, we can find out what is the profit percentage if the cost price is 4 and selling price is 5. There is an increase of 1. So that is profit. So therefore the profit percentage, this is 1 by 4 into 100. So understand that part clearly. We got the ratio between selling price and cost price here. How we can interpret that particular ratio? Cost price, when cost price is 4, selling price will be 5. Then here a profit of 1 rupee out of 4 rupee. Hence the profit percentage, that is simply 1 by 4 into 100%. It's a quite familiar value, that's equal to 25%. And here we got the inference that that's a profit, therefore the answer is 25% profit. So this ratio type of approach is a suitable method for similar type of questions. And there is a default idea for this question. There is not a variation mentioned here in the form of the variations in the price of the product. So what's the default situation here? This merchant is making some changes or alterations in weight only. And he is pretending that he is selling the goods at the cost price itself. So this is a basic type of dishonest seller questions. Later, we can consider some of the further types of questions, like there may be some alterations here occur in the price wise also. Suppose he is charging more than the actual cost price, actual price of the product. Also, he is making some alterations in weight. And then, while we are considering these two combined operations, his profit percentage may increase. So like that also questions we can expect. So there's a basic model, and that you have to consider the step of operations like this. Third question. If a train 110 meter long passes a telegraph pole in 3 seconds, then the time taken by it to cross a railway platform 165 meter long. So there is also a basic train problem. So basic train problem, what is the simple logic? Whenever a train crosses a telegraph pole or a standing person or a tree, so in each of these situations, these objects' width is comparatively negligible. Suppose an electric pole, its width is negligible while we are comparing it with the length of the train. A standing person, width of the person is negligible. An electric pole or a tree, so again width is negligible. But while we are considering the second situation, if it is crossing a platform or a bridge, at that time width that we have to consider. So here in the first situation, so when it crosses an electric pole, so at that time we will get the idea, the distance it covered. So this distance and time we can consider it like this. It's a unitary type of approach. That's a logical kind of approach instead of the algebraic or the result-wise approach. When the train crosses this telegraph pole, at that time it's covering a distance of 110 meter. This 110 meter, it will cover in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Then think about the same train is crossing a platform of length 165 meter. So at that time, what is the distance actually covering through that activity? So that is nothing but the sum of the length of the train and the length of the platform. So this is equal to, what is 110 plus 165? So that is equal to 275. So that is 275 meter. So think about how long it will take to cross this distance. Here, what is constant in this situation? So here we have 3 parameters, 3 basic parameters or basic components. Those are speed, time, and distance. So here we got 2 different distances and different time intervals. Then which is constant in this situation? Here that constant value is the speed of the train. So while we are considering the speed of the train as constant, that same train can cover 110 meter in 3 seconds. What the time taken by the train to cross 275 meter or cover 275 meter. So there we can consider the unitary type of approach. What you have to do then in such a step, so you just do the operation like this 3 divided by 110 into this 275. So that's a unitary type of approach. Got it? So 3 by 110 into 275. So then here we can do the simplifications. So here 11 into 10. So what about this? This is 25 into 11. So then further simplifying this one, 3 into 25, that will be equal to 75. So this is 75 by 10. What is the value here? That is equal to 7.5 seconds. And the answer is option 3, 7.5 seconds. So most of this type of question, comparative type of questions, we can catch through this type of unitary method instead of the result-wise approach. So understand that unitary method approach in such a situation. So now we can move to the next question. The number 12 is divided into 3 parts which are in AP, and the sum of their squares is 50. Find the smallest number. It is given that those 3 numbers are in AP. So a very important point related to AP. So what is the very important point related to the terms in an AP? So in an arithmetic progression, mean equal to median. Mean equal to median. So what it is? Or you can recall what is mean and what is median. So mean is nothing but average. So how to find out the average of these 3 numbers? Suppose 3 numbers are A, B and C. How to find out their average? A plus B plus C divided by 3. So this is the way to find out the average. So this average is equal to the middle number itself. So this is equal to the middle number itself. Median means that is the middle number, middlemost number. So this is the basic idea of the statement. In an arithmetic progression, mean equal to median. So then how we can apply that concept here? It is given that 12 is divided into 3 parts. So therefore, what is the average? Average, or that is the middle number. So average, that is same as the middle number, that is median. Middle number. So that is simply 12 divided by 3. So what we will get? That's equal to 4. So we got one idea that the middle number is 4. If middle number, find the smallest number. So a very simple understanding. If the middle number is 4 and the numbers are in arithmetic progression, then which will be the smallest number? So most probably that's less than 4. Why most probably? Maybe all the 3 numbers are same. 4, 4, 4. So that's one possibility. 4, 4, 4 are in AP. We can consider like that. So what is the common difference there? 0. Right? Maybe it's a confusing thing. So that you have to consider that first one or the least value that should be less than 4. That's a simple logic. So look at the options, set of options. Which among the options is less than 4? So what is here? Only one option. So therefore, so that's a possible answer. We have to find out the least among them or the smallest number. Or from this set of options, we can consider which are the numbers. We can verify it. So here the numbers are, if the middle value is 4, least one is 3, then its largest one is 5. You just verify whether the sum of the squares equal to 50. So that is 3 square. 3 square, that is 9. 4 square, so which is 16. And 5 square, that is 25. So while we are adding these values together, what we will get? This is equal to 15 plus 5, that's 20. Then this is 50. So we verified it. Actually, we don't want to do that thing. So once you got this idea, so if it is 4, then definitely the least value should be less than 4. So only one possibility here, that is 3. Then what will be the algebraic type of approach here? So once we will reach such a conclusion, so what you can think about it, if the middle number is 4, if the middle number is 4, you can think about the numbers. So this number is 4 and its preceding number, that is 4 minus d, because it is given that these three numbers are in arithmetic progression. Therefore, its succeeding number, that is 4 plus d. Got it? Then the sum of squares of these three numbers equal to 50. Sum of the squares of these three numbers, that is 4 minus d square plus 4 square plus 4 plus d square. Got it? So this is equal to 50. You just think about what is the sum of a minus b the whole square and a plus b the whole square. So while we are considering such identity application, so a minus b the whole square plus a plus b the whole square. So that is equal to 2 times of a square plus b square. So while applying that concept, here you will get what is the sum while we are adding these two values together, that is 2 times of 4 square plus d square plus this 4 square that we can take as 16, which is equal to 50. So then we just consider here, this is 2 into 4 square, 4 square equal to 16, 16 into 2, that's equal to 32 plus 2d square plus again 16, that's equal to 50. So what will get? 2d square, 32 plus 16, that's equal to 48. So this is 50 minus 48, that's equal to 2, then d square equal to 1, hence d equal to 1. Got it? If d equal to 1, what we assumed as these three numbers, that is 4 minus d, 4, 4 plus d. Therefore the numbers are, so middle value is 4, its preceding value, that is 4 minus 1, its succeeding value, that is 4 plus 1. Hence the numbers are 4 minus 1, that is 3, 4 and 5. We need to find out the least among them, which is the least one, that is 3. So therefore option 2. But we know that is time consuming. Instead of doing that, our first type of approach is a suitable one. While observing the numbers itself, we can easily catch it. So next question is from time and work. How long will 20 men take to finish a certain job which 6 men complete in 10 days? It's a simple one. Here we have the result. Suppose M1 men can complete a work in D1 days. If M2 men also can complete the same work in D2 days, then what is the direct result here? This is M1 into D1, which is equal to M2 into, so M1 into D1, so that is equal to M2 into D2. M2 into D2. So this is a basic result. Why? What is the relationship here? Here we know that this number of men and number of days are in inverse variation. Whenever we are increasing the number of workers, we know definitely the number of days will decrease. So therefore, these two quantities are in inverse variation. Therefore, the product of these two values should be equal to the product of these two values. So while applying the same concepts numerically as per the given data, it is given that 6 men can complete a job in 10 days. 6 men, they can complete the job in 10 days. Then we need to find out 20 men, how long they will take to finish the work. 20 men. So how many days they required to finish the work? Clear? So you already reached to such a conclusion that M1 into D1, that is M2 into D2. Therefore, here we will get this value is nothing but this is 6 into 10 divided by this 20. So what it will become? This is equal to 3. 3 means 3 days. So they required 3 days. Otherwise, here we know that 6 into 10, that's equal to 60. 20 into which value will be equal to also 60. So that is 3. So that's a direct basic result approach. Ranjit went to the market carrying ₹100 in his purse. If he buys 3 pens and 6 pencils, he uses up all his money. On the other hand, if he buys 3 pencils and 6 pens, he would fall short by 20%. If he wants to buy equal number of pens and pencils, how many pencils can he buy? That's an interesting question. It's a question from the area of simple equations. But the percentage-wise application also be here. So you have to be alert while we are doing similar type of questions. So you may fall into the trap easily. So from the second statement. So how to tackle this one? First of all, we have to consider for the convenience of our rough work. So I am considering the prices of pen as X and pencil equal to Y. Got it? So price of each pen and pencil of X and Y. It is given that he buys 3 pens and 6 pencils. 3 pens and 6 pencils. He spent entire 100 rupees. So that's the first result. So this is the first result. And second result, you have to be alert. So what happened on the other hand? If he buys 3 pencils and 6 pens. 6 pens. While reading that statement, we have to focus properly on in which order they are giving the data. So that is 6x plus 3y. What happened there? So fall short by 20%. Fall short by 20% means he has actually 100 rupee. That is 20% less than actual requirement. Got it? Suppose we just consider the actual requirement or total price required as per this transaction. So that is equal to X. We just consider this is equal to X. Then how we can express this X in terms of 100? So this X is, or we can consider 80% of this X equal to 100 rupee. That's the logic. 80% of X equal to 100. Have you got the logic? Because we need actually X rupee. But we don't have 20% of that requirement because we have only 100 rupee. So that means this 100 rupee is 80% of the actual requirement. So therefore, what is the actual requirement? So this is 100 into this 100 by 80. Or this is equal to 125. Got it? So this is 125. So that means here we can consider this value, that is 125. So here second step. So that's why I already mentioned the point. You have to be alert while we are doing the second step of operation. Then we need to find out if he wants to buy equal number of pens and pencils, how many pencils he can buy. Equal number of pens and pencils. So how many he can buy. So what is the logic here? If we are doing this one, if we are adding these two equations, 1 plus 2, what you will get? This is 6 plus 3, 9x, and this is 9y. This is 225. So don't forget, we have only 100 rupee with us. So therefore, we need to buy equal number of pens and pencils. So then here we just consider what is x plus y. X plus y. Or we just consider it like this. If you are making this as 100, what's the change occurred here? Like that also we can think. So if you want to make this as 100, then what's the change occurred here? Like that. So how it is possible if this is 100, what's the change required here? For getting that idea clearly, I just make it as x plus y. What is the value of x plus y? Here we know that this is 9 times of x plus y is equal to 225. Here you will get this is equal to 2 times of 9. That's equal to 18. So then 4 is there, 45, that is 5. So that is x plus y. That means one pen, one pencil, it cost rupees 25. So we have only 100 rupee. We have only 100 rupee. That's the tricky point here. So therefore, if we have only 100 rupee, we know that this is 25 into 4. Therefore, this is 4x plus 4y. What is the trick behind our question? We need to find out how many pencils he can buy. If he is buying equal number of pens and pencils with this amount. So therefore, here we will get the idea that he can buy 4 pencils as per the given data. That's a tricky conclusion. Here 2 tricky concepts. So first one is 125. How to reach this 125? That's a very important point. Otherwise, we may consider like that 20% less than, in the sense that some students may put this as 80. So that's meaningless. He is actually spending this amount. So that is 20% less than the actual requirement. Therefore, that selling price or that cost, that should be something more than the given 100 rupee. So understand that point clearly. And then after that, the final point. This final point. Here, we need to consider that final statement. He wants to buy equal number of items. So then what is the number of pencils he can purchase? So based on this conversion, we have to reach the conclusion. So therefore, the answer is 4 here. Now, the next question, question number 7. And we are racing on a circular track in the same direction with the speeds 20 meters per second, 25 meters per second respectively. Find the length of the track if they meet 20 seconds after their start. So it's a concepts related to circular track. So while we are considering a circular track race, so here we are assuming the length of the track. So that is L meter. Got it? So here the length of the track is L meter. 2 persons A and B start running from here, same point, A and B are running in the same direction. So both are running in the same direction. Got it? So then with the respective speeds of 20 meters per second. So first person's speed is 20 meters per second. And that of the second person is 25 meters per second. Here you have to reach a conclusion. What is the time they will take to meet at the first time after their simultaneous start? Who is faster person here? B is the faster person here. So understand the logic here. So if B is the faster person, what will happen? So when the race starts, at that point itself, this B will overtake A. But suppose once B finished this one full circle, so this A will finish. At that time, what will happen? This A will finish a certain portion. Suppose we just consider A reached up to this point. So this is the first statistics. When B reached up to this point, A reached this point. So then again, here we just consider. So immediately in the next round, what will happen? This B is running further. Then after this point, B is running further. Got it? So next round. Maybe at this point, this B can meet A. So at that time, we will reach at this point. Got it? So what is the logic here? While we are observing the diagram, so you don't want to consider the width of the diagram or the diameter of the circles. Instead, we just consider how many circles there. Like that we have to consider. For their first meeting, after their simultaneous start, so this B should cover, in this case, because B is the faster person, B should cover exactly one full track length more than the slowest person. So that means the relative distance between them, that is one full track length. And they are running in same direction. If two moving bodies are in the same direction, so then what is the relative speed there? What is the relative speed? How to find out it? That's the difference between their individual speeds. So this is distance. So that's the relative distance in the sense. So what's the distance they made in between them? So it doesn't mean what's the total distance they covered individually. So here we are considering comparatively. Comparatively, B is how much more than, or the distance covered by B is how much more than that by A. So that is L. And the relative speed, that is the difference between their individual speeds. Understand the units of these measures. Here L in meters, 25 and 20 are in meters per seconds, all are matching. It is given that this total time is 20 seconds. So that time is also matching. So that's the result here. This is total track length. So divided by 25 minus 20 is equal to 20. So then L is equal to, what is 25 minus 20? That's equal to 5. So this is 20 into 5. So which is equal to 100 meter. So here the length of the track is 100 meter. So here the first meeting time after the simultaneous start is one track length divided by relative speed. So that's the concept here. Instead, if they are running in opposite direction, what will happen? What will be the time required to meet at the first time? So immediately after their simultaneous start, they will meet at a certain point. That means during this period, they together covered a total track length. So therefore, at that time, if they are in opposite direction, then that will be equal to L divided by A plus B. Here, L divided by A minus B. Okay, now move to the next question. Consider this one. A vendor sells 30% of his fruits and throws away 40% of the remainder. We just start like this. He has 100 fruits with him. He sells 30% of the total fruits. So he sells 30%. So what is remaining? So or the remaining things, that is 70 fruits. Out of this 70 fruits, he throws away 40% of the remainder. So here, 40% of this remainder he throws away. So here we just consider what's the quantity of fruits he throws away. That is 40% of this value. What is 40% of this value? That's equal to 40% of 70 is equal to 28. So this is the first load of fruits he throws away in the first day. So what is remaining fruits here? So after this transaction here, the remaining fruits, that's equal to 42. So there's the remaining quantity of fruits with him. So on the next day, what happened? 50% of this remaining number of fruits he sells. 50% of this remaining number of fruits he sells. What is 50%? That is 21. So what remains here? That's another 21, because 50% means that's exactly half of this value. So that is 21. So these are the number of fruits he throws away. So while we are considering these two numbers together, what is the total number of fruits he throws away? That is 21 plus 28, which is equal to 49. So that means if the total number of fruits is 100, the number of fruits he throws away, that is 49. So therefore this 49 is nothing but 49% of 100. So therefore our answer is 49%. So that's a simple way of approach towards such a question. Move to the next question. An orchard has 48 apple trees, 60 mango trees, 96 banana trees. These have to be arranged in rows such that each row has the same number of trees. Each row has the same number of trees. And of the same type. Find the minimum number of such rows that can be formed. So while reading the question itself, you will get the idea. Here we have 48, 60 and 96 banana trees. So we need to find out the minimum number of rows. If we need to consider the minimum number of rows, we have to plant maximum number of trees in each row. Got the logic? If we need the minimum number of rows, we have to plant maximum number of trees in each row. Clear? At that time, how we can do it? So here 48 apple trees for 60 mango trees, 96 banana trees. We have to plant equal number of same kind of trees in each row. So therefore, the maximum number of trees in each row. So first we have to consider what is the maximum number of trees in a row. So what it is? That's a simple logic. That should be the HCF of these three values. So here that is the HCF. HCF means highest common factor of 48, 60 and 96. So what is the HCF of these three values? That's equal to 12. HCF means highest common factor. Here 12 is a factor of 48, 12 is a factor of 60, 12 is a factor of 96. So therefore it's possible to plant 12 mango tree, apple tree each in 4 rows. Then that will be equal to 48. Total 48 apple trees will be covered through that 4 rows. So like that we can develop. So therefore once we will get like this, then we can find out what is the minimum number of rows. So the next one, minimum number of rows. So how to do it? Here 48 apple trees. If you are planting 12 trees in each row, how many rows required? That is 48 by 12. And 60 mango trees, 60 by 12, 5 rows required. 96 banana trees by 12, so that is 8 rows required. That means here we have 4 rows, here 5 rows, 8 rows. So here, hence the total number of rows will be equal to 17. That is the minimum number of rows required. So therefore 17 is the answer. Then the next one, the cross section of a canal is a trapezium. The canal is 12 meter wide at the top and 8 meter wide at the bottom. If the area of the cross section is 840 square meter, find the depth of the canal. First of all, you just recall the figure, trapezium. What is a trapezium? So you just recall the figure like this. So here the trapezium, we can draw it like this. So this is a trapezium. So this is the shape of canal. So here, what is the peculiarity or the nature of this trapezium? Here these two sides are parallel. And it is given that canal is 12 meter wide at the top. So here this width is 12 meter and 8 meter wide at the bottom. And the depth of this canal. Depth of this canal is simply this one. This is the depth of the canal. So I just put that as h, or that as height of this canal. What is the result for finding the area of such a trapezium? Suppose if two sides are A and B and this is H. Therefore, area of such a trapezium, that is half of H into A plus B. Half of H into A plus B. So while we are applying these results and it is given that the total area is 840 square meter, then you can directly find out the answer. So here it is half of H into 12 plus 8. So which is equal to 840. So this is equal to 20H by 2. That is equal to 840. So therefore what is H? Here 20H by 2, that will be equal to 10H. So therefore this is 840 by 10. 840 by 10. So which is equal to 84 meter. So that is the depth of the canal. Okay, then move to the next question. It's a tricky question, it's a comparison question. So which parts contain the fractions in ascending order? Here we have basically 3 fractions. So consider those fractions individually. Here the fractions are: first one 11 by 14, second one 16 by 19, and third one 19 by 21. So we have to compare these 3 fractions. So do you have any idea about it? How to compare the fractions there? So either you have to make the denominators are equal. Then we can compare the fractions. If we are making the denominators are equal, based on the quantities of numerator, we can arrange them in ascending or descending order as per requirement. Or if you are making the numerators are equal, then also it's possible. Otherwise, whether there any other easy method, here the most easiest approach towards such a question. So you just equate the difference between the numerator and denominator in each fraction. What's the logic here? Here we just consider the difference between the numerator and denominator. Here the difference is 3. Here the difference is also 3. Here the difference is 2. Got it? Here these first two fractions. First of all, we have to understand these fractions are in same nature. That means these all are proper fractions. So which are proper fractions? Numerator is less than the denominator. Clear? So such proper fractions. So if proper fractions have a common difference between the numerator and denominator, then the least fraction contains the least fraction, or least values contains the least fraction. So here, while we are considering that kind of a condition, so the logic is like this. While we are considering the set of fractions are proper fractions. So first of all, we have to reach the conclusion that the given fractions are proper fractions, and there is a common difference between numerator and denominator. If there is a common difference between numerator and denominator, if there are two conditions like this, then what's the conclusion there? If there are two conditions like this, then the conclusion is least fraction contains least values. Got it? Similarly, the largest fraction contains largest values. Think about these 2 points clearly, whether the given fractions are proper fractions and whether there is any common difference between the numerator and denominator, then we can apply this trick. Least fraction contains least values. Largest fraction contains largest values. Largest values in the sense we have to consider either numerator only or denominator only. So then, here what is the problem? While we are considering these fractions, so we can compare the first two fractions easily. What's the conclusion here? Here the differences are same. Therefore, which numerator is greater? The 16 is greater. Therefore, this is greater. So no doubt. But what is the problem? Where we will accommodate this 19 by 21, that's only the problem. Whether that is greater than these values or not. So therefore, what you have to do, next trick, we have to equate these differences. How to equate these differences? For equating these differences, we just multiply this by 2. This by 2 in the sense, this numerator by 2, denominator by 2. This by 2 in the sense, numerator by 2, denominator by 2. This by 3 in the sense, numerator by 3, denominator by 3. Here we will get 3 new fractions corresponding to these given fractions. So this is 2 into 11, that is 22. 2 into 14, that is 28. Here this is 2 into 16, that is 32. 2 into 19, that's equal to 38. And this one, 19 into 3, that is equal to 57. So this is 63. Look at these 3 fractions. Here the differences are same. Numerator, denominator. The differences are same. In each case, these differences equal to 6. Look at here. Look at here. So here 6, here 6. Got it? So if these differences are same, then look at the set of fractions. Here we will get. So which is greater? So if the differences are same and these are proper fractions, then the least value here, that is 22 by 28, is lesser than 32 by 38, which is lesser than 57 by 63, no doubt. So therefore, we just consider the original fractions here. So here the original fractions corresponding to these values. So this is given values are in the order itself. So that means 11 by 14 is less than 16 by 19 is less than 19 by 21. So we can apply this trick easily. So therefore, our answer is option 1. Keep this idea in your mind. If we are considering the case of proper fraction and there is a common difference between numerator and denominator, we can apply that logic. The next question is, and L are the smallest and the largest n-digit natural numbers respectively. L minus S is always divisible by. It's a question from numbers. Most of the time, the trickiest questions from numbers will make confusions in you. So you just think about, is it possible to reach a conclusion of such a question easily? So what's the logic, or what will be the strategy towards similar type of questions? So no doubt, you don't want to approach these questions algebraically. You just consider some of the sampling methods. You just take some of the samples. It is given that L and S are n-digit natural numbers. That means the number of digits in both numbers are same. If L is the largest single-digit number, then S is the smallest single-digit natural number. So here we can consider the values L and S, and we can consider L minus S also. If you are considering single-digit numbers, which is the largest single-digit natural numbers, that's also we have to consider. So here 9 is the single-digit natural number. Therefore, 1 is the smallest single-digit number, natural number. What is 9 minus 1? 9 minus 1. So that is 9 minus 1, which is equal to 8. So now we got, so that number is divisible by 8. From that point itself, we can catch it. Even we are starting with the single digit number, we got the inference or the output that is 8. That 8 is not in the given set of options. Not 8, even a factor of 8, it's not there. Here, anyway, we got that this difference is not divisible by 9. It's not divisible by 10. 9 and 10 is also not possible. Therefore, within this first sample itself, you can reach the conclusion our answer is none of these. Clear? For getting a clarity about the concept, you just think about which will be the single two-digit numbers here. Which is the largest two-digit number? That is 99. Which is the least two-digit natural number? That is 10. So here this is 99 minus 10, that is equal to 89. So here 8 and 89, they don't have any common factors. Therefore, there is not any such unique common factors other than 1. So therefore, here the options are not matching except the last one. So that is equal to none of these. So that's a strategical way that you have to learn. So it's a simple concept. You don't want to convert it in the form of complicated algebraic type of conclusions. So there you have to apply the simple substitution for finding the answer. So now we can move to the next question. A train 360 meter long is running at a speed of 15 meters per second. Find the time taken by the train to cross a tunnel of 390 meter long. So you just recall the concepts which we discussed earlier. So here, its distance or the length of the train is given, and length of the tunnel is also available. So first we have to consider what is the speed of this train. So speed of the train, that is 15 meters per second. So while we are considering the speed of the train in meters per second, that's such a convenient situation. So otherwise, if the speed of the train, if you have that's in kilometer per hour format, first you have to convert it into meters per second, because rest all the distances and the form of the distance or the length of the train and the length of the tunnel are in meters. Therefore, this is a corresponding measure of speed, that is meters per second. That's a favorable situation. Next, we have to consider what is the distance in this context. So in such a context, distance is nothing but length of the train plus length of the tunnel. So length of the train plus length of the tunnel. So while we are adding them, that is 750 meters. So we have distance and speed. How to find out time? Time is nothing but distance by speed. So distance is 750, speed is 15. Both are in corresponding measures. So it's directly we can simplify them. We know that 15 into 5 will be equal to 75. This is 50. So 50 second will be the answer. So that's a direct easy question from basic train problems. Next question, the difference between compound interest and simple interest on a certain sum of money at 5% per annum for 2 years is rupees 1.50. Find the sum. So with the help of a direct result, we can find the answer of this question. What is the difference between? So difference between simple interest and compound interest on a common principal, same rate of interest for 2 years. For 2 years. 2 years. So there we have a direct result, that is P into R by 100 the whole square. So this is a direct result. There's a difference between simple interest and compound interest on a particular principal amount for 2 years at the same rate of interest R% per annum. So it is given that we have to find out the sum. Sum in the sense, what is this sum? Sum in the sense that's the principal value. So it is given that P into, what is the rate of interest here? 5%. So this is 5 by 100, the whole square. So this is equal to 1.50. So then this one here we will get, this is equal to 1 by 20. The whole square is equal to 1.50. Therefore, P is nothing but 1.50 into, what is 20 square? 20 square is equal to 400. So here we know that this is equal to 150 into 4. What is 150 into 4? That's equal to rupees 600. So hence the principal amount as rupees 600. So you have to keep this result in your mind, difference between simple interest and compound interest for 2 years. So that is P into R by 100 the whole square. At this time, I just give you another one result also. If we need to consider this difference for 3 years. So what is the result? So that is P into R by 100 the whole square into, there is an extension. So that is 3 plus R by 100. So that's the difference between simple interest and compound interest on a particular sum at the same rate of interest per annum, R% per annum, for 3 years. The difference we can find using this result. So that is P into R by 100 the whole square. Up to that one, that's same as the first result. And there is an additional extension of 3 plus R by 100. So that's the result. Note it down. Now our 15th question. For the size of a cuboid increases by 20%, then by what percent does its volume increase? So here we just consider length, breadth, and height. So these are the 3 measures of a cuboid. So I just consider, for the convenience of calculation, each of this length, breadth, and height equal to 10 units each. Then what is volume? What is the result to find out the volume of a cuboid? That is equal to L into B into H. So as per this assumption, that is 10 into 10 into 10. That's equal to 1000. That's equal to 1000. Clear? So now we just consider, if there is an increase of 20%, so then what happened with these measures? If this 10 is increased by 20%, it becomes 12. So you just simply think about, if length, it's increased by 10%, it becomes 12 units. That unit can be anything, centimeter, meter, whatever it is. While we are considering the percentage type of operations, we don't want to bother about the units there. So here, this value is also increased, therefore 12. This is also 12. So now we just consider, what's the total variation here? This is 12 into 12 into 12. What is 12 into 12 into 12? 12 cube. 12 cube. What it is, you just recall, that is 1728. 12 cube equal to 1728. At this point of time, you have to understand that requirement. So you have to, by heart, the cubes minimum up to 15. Minimum up to 15 for solving most of the questions. So sometimes you may get some of the number series questions based on these cube numbers, or sometimes you may get the questions from the area of compound interest and simple interest for the application of these cubes. So therefore here we will get, this is 1728. So understand the situation clearly. So here 1000 becomes 1728. So if it is 100, what's the variation here? This is 100. So it becomes 172.8. So what we are doing here? We are dividing both these values by 10. So think about it. Initial volume is 100 and the final volume is 172.8. What is the increase here? So here the increase in its volume is 72.8%. That's a tricky approaching here style. So here the answer is 72.8%. Actually, it's a concept of successive variation. So here we got the idea like this. Therefore, we can easily conclude this. We are comparing it with the 10 cube and 12 cube. Why we are taking cube? Because it's a case of volume. It's a case of volume. Each of the three components are increased by the same quantity. That's why we are taking cubes. Clear? So like that, we can directly reach the conclusions of similar type of questions. So next question, divide 2700 into 3 parts such that 12 times the first part, 12 times the first part I just consider that as x, is equal to 5 times the second part, is equal to 6 times the third part. So here you have to reach a conclusion. What's the ratio between x, y and z? So what do you have to do in such a situations? So they are the easiest way. You just think about what is the LCM of these three quantities. 12, 5 and 6. What is the LCM of 12, 5 and 6? So our requirement, we need to find out what is x is to y is to z. So here 12, 5 and 6, their LCM is 60. Correct? 60. So this is the LCM of 12, 5 and 6. Clear? So if 12x equal to 60, so then we can directly write the ratio. X is to y is to z here. Think about like this. 12x equal to 60. What is the value of x? X equal to 5. Instead of 5y equal to 60, what is the value of y? Y equal to 12. 6z equal to 60, z equal to 10. So we will get the ratio like this. Those quantities distributed in the ratio 5 is to 12 is to 10. So whenever we are doing the further step of operation, it's better to consider three distributions. Closely observe. So which option satisfying this ratio? Which option satisfying this ratio? So while observing the ratios, we will get it easily. So these quantities are in the ratio 5 is to 12 is to 10. So that means we can avoid the time taken for the further steps of operations. So in such an easiest type of questions, we can do this operations. You can catch the answer through this logical way. Otherwise, what will happen? What will be the next step of operations? Here, this x or the first person's value, that is 5 by sum of these all values. What is the sum of these all values? That's equal to 27. 27 of this total amount of 2700. 2700. So that will get this 27 and 2700 will be cancelled or simplified. That is 100, which is equal to 500. Similarly, y, that is 12 by 27 into 2700. So that is 1200. The last one, that is z. So that is z. So that is 10 by 27 of 2700. So that is equal to 1000. So these three are three different shares. So move to the next question. The sum of two numbers is 5 times the difference. If the product is 24, the numbers are. So first of all, you just simply look at the options. How many of them have the product 24? That's a simple trick, right? But unfortunately, here we know that all the options have the same product, right? So that won't work. So then you just leave that condition. All are satisfying that second condition. And the first one only you have to focus. The sum of the two numbers is 5 times the difference. That's a simple logic. Sum of those two numbers at least a multiple of 5. Sum of those two numbers at least a multiple of 5. So here we just consider. What's the sum of these two values? This is 14. It's not a multiple of 5. So therefore this is not the answer. What about this one? 11. So it's again not a multiple of 5. So what about this one? This is 10. It's a multiple of 5. So that is satisfying. Or we can verify it. Sum of those two numbers is equal to 5 times the difference between them, whether it's satisfying or not. Yeah, here we will get. So this is equal to 5 into 2. This is equal to 10. And this is 5 into 2. That's also equal to 10. It's satisfying. Correct. So this is a logic. So what is an algebraic kind of approach? This is the actual requirement whenever we are considering the competitive exams like this. So instead of doing the algebraic kind of operations, we have to do the operations like this in a smart way. Here we just consider two numbers x and y. Sum of those two numbers is equal to 5 times the difference between those two numbers. So whenever we will get such an equation, what will happen? Here we have two variables, but only one equation. Such a situation is called indeterminate system of equation. That means we cannot find out unique values for set of values for x and y, but some ratio-wise conclusions are possible. So how to do the ratio-wise conclusions? Here on the right side, this has 5x minus 5y. So on left side, that is x plus y. So take x and y on same sides. Got it? Here 5x minus x, that is 4x. And on left side, this y plus 5y, that's equal to 6y. Or this is x by y, that's in the form 6:4, or its simplified form 3:2. So x and y should be in the ratio 3:2. So look at the options, whether there are any set of values in that ratio. Yeah, here we have, that is 6 and 4. Or if there are multiple possibilities like this, so which are the other possibilities? If x is to y, so that's in the form 3:2. So which are the possible set of values in that order? Either you can consider here x is 3, y is 2. That's one possibility. X is 6, y is 4. That's second possibility. X is 9, y is 6. That's the third possibility. These are the three possible set of values. Out of these three set of values, only one set is here. If there are multiple possibilities like these three sets, for that purpose only we have to use the next or second condition. The product should be equal to 24. While we are considering this one, the product is equal to, so here 3 into 2 is equal to 6. Here 6 into 4, so that is 24. Here 9 into 6, so that is 54. So therefore this is the answer. Clear? So actually, from the first type of operation itself, we can reach the conclusion. That's a tricky kind of approach. So another tricky question is based on the concept of rules of divisibility. How to check whether the given number is divisible by 99? So such a big number. How to apply the rules of divisibility for such a big number? So here divisibility rule for 99. So we have to check whether this given number is divisible by 9 and 11. Got it? 9 and 11. So how to check the divisibility here? 9 and 11. What is the divisibility rule for 9? Divisibility rule for 9 is simply the sum of the digits in the given number should be divisible by 9. So here we can check what is the sum of the digits of this number. If you are adding these numbers 3 plus 5, so that's equal to 8. 8 plus 7, 15. Plus 2, 17. Plus 4, 21. Plus 3, 24. Here the sum is 24. It is not divisible by 9, therefore this is not the answer. Got it? The second one, 9 plus 1, 10, 13, 17, 23, 27. Yes, it's a multiple, so there is a chance. And the next one, this is 2 plus 4, that's equal to 6, 9 plus 9, 18. There is again a chance. Got it? So here, these two numbers are satisfying the conditions or the divisibility conditions of 9 and 11. So therefore, we have to consider the next step, that is the divisibility condition for 11. So how to check? So while we are considering this number, this is 9, 1, 3, 4, 6, 4. What do you have to do? For checking the divisibility rule for 11, you have to take the sum of alternate place digits. This is 4 plus 4, 8 plus 1, 9. And this one, this is 9 plus 9, that's equal to 18. So take the difference between these two sums. So take the difference between these two sums. So that is equal to 9. If this difference is 0, 11, 22 and so on, then only we can say, so that is divisible by 11. Therefore, this number is not divisible by 11. So therefore, we have to consider the next number. So next number, while we are considering the next number, here we just consider. So next number, that is 1, 1, 4, 3, 4, 5. We are testing the divisibility rule of 11 here. So this is 5 plus 3, 8 plus 1. So this is almost 9. This is 1 plus 4. So that is 5 plus 4. That is also 9. Here we got these sums. So the difference is equal to 0 or those two sums are equal. That's one condition. So if these two differences, that means sum of the alternate place digits, the differences will be equal to 0 or any multiple of 11, then we can conclude the given number is divisible by 11. But this one is satisfying this condition. Therefore, this number, option 3, is satisfying both the conditions, that is divisible by 9 as well as 11. Therefore, we are sure this is the answer. So this is a way of rules of divisibility. You have to learn the basic rules of divisibility minimum up to the numbers 20. So now we can move to another one challenging question here. But now you are familiar how to make the conclusions here. So whenever we are considering this type of question, so we have to arrange the fractions in descending order. Here, descending order. Just closely observe the set of fractions here. While we are considering the set of fractions, so whether there are any peculiarity or any kind of relationship between the fractions here. So while we are observing, so can you guess which is the least among them? Which is the least among them? So no doubt, out of these three fractions, so this 28 by 25 is an improper fraction. So this is an improper fraction. So 28 by 25 is an improper fraction. 32 by 29. 32 by 29. So that's an improper fraction. But what about 8 by 11? So that's a proper fraction. That's a proper fraction. So a proper fraction in the sense its value. So 8 by 11, it's a proper fraction. Its value is less than 1. Its value is less than 1. Rest of all improper fraction, their values are greater than 1 because the numerators are greater than its denominator. So therefore we are sure that A is the least among them. That is the least among them. Get it? And the last one, that is 19 by 16. That is also an improper fractions. So these all are improper fractions. Improper fractions. So earlier we discussed one comparison rule related to proper fractions. Now these are improper fractions. Then we are considering whether there are any interesting peculiarities of these three values or relationships between them. So while observing these numbers here, we will get the idea that here the differences are same. Here the differences are same in each of these three fractions. Here the fractions are improper fractions. And the common difference, there is a common difference between the numerator and the denominator in each fractions. Then what we can conclude here in such a situation, here we have 2 points. So while we are considering the set of improper fractions, and there is a common difference. So a common difference between numerator and denominator in each fraction. Then what's the conclusion here? That's a beautiful conclusion. So you just consider that we are dealing with improper fractions. So then you have to keep it in your mind. If we are dealing with improper fractions, the order is inverse. So what is the meaning here? So here the largest fraction contains least values and least fraction contains largest values. So least fraction contains largest values. Least fraction contains largest values. Similarly, the largest fraction contains least values. So that's a tricky conclusion here. But in our previously one question we discussed that point while we are considering the case of proper fractions, at that end that the order is in proper way. So largest fraction contains largest values, least fraction contains least values. Here it's in the reverse order. So what's the conclusion here? So here we have to arrange the fractions in descending order. Descending order, largest at first. So out of these three fractions, which contains the least number, least digits. So here that is 19 by 16. So it contains the least numerator and denominator. Therefore, this is the largest among them. So therefore, here we will get. So our conclusion will be like this: out of these fractions, this is the largest among them. So what we can conclude here, this is 19 by 16 is the largest one. So then the second one, out of these two, which contains the least number comparatively, that's the first one, 28 by 25. So this is 28 by 25. Then obviously this is 32 by 29. 32 by 29. And the least among them, we already reached the conclusion that this 8 by 11 is the only one proper fractions in the given set. Therefore, that should be the least among them. So this should be the order. So look at the options where we'll get this kind of an order. So this is the answer. That is option 4. Got it? So that's the answer. So this comparison is very important, these types of comparisons. Now move to the 20th question, another challenging question from the area of quadratic equations. It is given that a quadratic equation x squared minus x minus 3 equal to 0 has roots a and b. Then we have to find out the quadratic equation which has roots 3a plus 1 and 3b plus 1. Suppose we just consider if a quadratic equation has roots a and b, then how we can write or frame that quadratic equation? So that is x minus a into x minus b. So if we have the roots of a quadratic equation, then we can frame that quadratic equation like this: x minus a into x minus b equal to 0. So just expand this one. This is x squared minus a plus b into x plus ab equal to 0. It is given that our quadratic equation is x squared minus x in the sense 1x, so minus 3. So this is minus 3 equal to 0. Compare these like terms. So while observing these like terms, here we will get. So from these two expressions, what is a plus b? A plus b is equal to 1. And what is the value of ab? AB equal to minus 3. So this is a very important understanding, or this is the important finding from this first part. Then the similar way, we just expand the second part. So if we have the equations with roots 3a plus 1 and 3b plus 1. So what is the formation of such a quadratic equation? So that we can consider that is x minus 3a plus 1 into x minus 3b plus 1. Got it? So this is equal to 0. Then expand this one. What you'll get? So this is x squared minus sum of these two values, that is 3a plus 1 plus 3b plus 1 into x. Then the product of these two values, that is plus, this is 3a plus 1 into 3b plus 1 equal to 0. So while we are considering its further expansions, this is x squared minus 3 into a plus b plus 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2 into x plus, expanding this one, this is equal to 3a into 3b. So that's equal to 9ab plus 3 into a plus b plus 1. So that is equal to 0. Now we can substitute the values of a plus b and ab in these expressions. So here we will get, when we substitute a plus b is equal to 1. What it will become? A plus b 1. So 1 into 3. 3 plus 2, that is equal to 5. So this is 5x. So at this time itself, we look at the options. Look at the options. Anyway, we know that it's possible to find out. We don't want to spend too much time for the further steps of our operations. While reaching this step itself, there is only one such value here, that is this one. Anyway, it won't be the cannot be determined option. If none of this is there, then only we have to think about whether there are any further possibilities. Yeah, anyway, I just concluded. So here, plus this last one, 9AB. So here AB is minus 3. So 9 into minus 3, that will become minus 27. Plus 3 into A plus B, that is 3 itself. So minus 27 plus 3 plus 1. So that's equal to minus 23. So here we will get that value as minus 23 equal to 0. So therefore, no doubt, our answer is x square minus 5x minus 23. So this is the algebraic kind of approach towards this quadratic equations. And the next question. Gopi gives 90 as salary to his servant for 1 year plus 1 turban. It's for a period of 1 year. That's remuneration for 1 year. The servant leaves after 9 months and receives ₹65 and turban. Find the price of the turban. So here we just consider. So for this 12 months, so what is the amount here distributed? That is ₹90 plus 1 turban. So this T I just put for representing the price of turban. Got it? That's the price of 1 turban. And it's for 12 months. It's for 12 months. But what happened? The servant leaves after 9 months. Got it? 9 months. So therefore, the remuneration is changed to ₹65 and 1 turban. ₹65 and 1 turban. So how we can connect it? So that's a simple logic. So here we have to consider it's in the form of a ratio. So this value divided by this value will be equal to 12 by 9. That's a simple logic. So how we can connect it? So this is 90 plus T. This one 65 plus T. So that is equal to 12 by 9. So 12 by 9 we can simplify this one. This is equal to 4 by 3. Just make the cross multiplications here. So this is 3 into this value. That is 270 plus 3T. And this is 4 into this value. What is 4 into 25? That's equal to, so that's 240, 260. So 260 plus 40. So here we'll get 40 minus 3T. That's equal to T. This is 270 minus 260. That's equal to 10. So therefore, the price of the turban is ₹10. So this kind of a proportionate type of approach, through this type of approach, we can easily reach the conclusion. Otherwise, what you have to do, you just substitute the values here. And look at there, which among those values, those two values will give the ratio as 4:3. 4:3. Why 4:3? This is one full year, that is 12 months. And this is for 9 months only. That is equal to 4:3. So like this way, we can catch the answer. And question number 22 here. Find the greatest number which will divide 1, 2, 2, 8, 8, 8, 2, 8, 421, 44,333, so as to leave the same remainder in each case. So it's again a question from numbers. So now you got a basic idea that whenever we are doing the questions from numbers, these questions are really challenging, right? So in most of the time. So some tricky concepts behind each and every question. So here, while doing this question, there's also a challenging type of questions. What is the trick behind this question? Here we just consider, when we divide this each of these numbers by a divisor, it always leaves a common remainder. So therefore, what we can do, so that's a simple logic here, 12288. So this number, we can write it in the form, whenever we are dividing this number by a divisor, so it leaves a remainder in the sense. The step of operations will be like this. So when we divide this by a divisor, so we will get a remainder R. So that same thing is applicable for the second number. So whenever we are dividing this 28421, so that means 28,421 divided by the same divisor. So we will get the remainder same R. Similarly, the last one also, when we divide this last one, that is 44333 divided by the same divisor, it also leaves the same remainder. So this is a situation. Then what will be the remainder, greatest such divisor. So we have to find out which will be the largest value, possible value of D. So what is the logic that we can apply here? It's a quite tricky type of concepts. So here we just consider each of these numbers. I am starting from the largest number. So here the largest number, this 44,333. So I am assuming that as 44,333. That means 44,333. So that as D into a quotient plus R. Can we write it like this? D into a quotient plus R. So that means whenever we are dividing this value by D, what we will get? Suppose X as a quotient and R as a remainder. Therefore, Dx plus R. So that kind of an arrangement is called a Euclidean lemma. So we are applying that concept there. So we can express a number like this. Therefore, the second number, that is 28,421. So what you will get? I am writing that as dy plus R. That the quotient is different. Here, rest 2, this divisor and remainder are same as per the question. And the last one, that is 12288. So we can write it as dz plus R. dz plus R. So while observe these three expressions, suppose if I am subtracting, so I am numbering these numbers, equations as 1, 2, and 3. I am subtracting this 2 from 1. What will happen? This 2 from 1. On right side, this you will get that is equal to D into X minus Y. Got it? So D into X minus Y. What is D into X minus Y? That's the difference between these two values. So here, considering the difference between these two values, that's equal to 2. This is 1. This is 9. And this one 5. So this is the difference. 15912. Similarly, I'm subtracting this. Here the subtraction will be 1 minus 2. Here this is 2 minus 2. 2 minus 3. So that's the next subtraction. So what is our aim? We are simply removing the presence of R or the remainder from these numbers. Here 2 minus 3, that will be equal to D into Y minus Z. So Y minus Z. So here subtract the values here. So this is equal to 8 plus 3, that is equal to 11. 9 plus 3, that's equal to 12. This is 1. And this one 6. And finally, that's also 1. So that we will get the differences like this. So what is the inference here? So divisor lies in these two numbers. Got it? So that means we are checking whether there are any common factors for these numbers. So we are not sure that common factor is the divisor itself. So that divisor, so that will lie in these two numbers, the divisor will be a factor of those two common factors. That's a logical conclusion here. So otherwise we can reach the conclusions that divisor will be the HCF of these two numbers. So that divisor will be the HCF of these two numbers. No doubt there. So divisor is the HCF of these two differences. That's a tricky concept of this type of question. What we are doing here, so these all are the theoretical foundation of that question. Then after that, what you have to do whenever we will get such a question, you have to find the difference between each among them. So nearest values, you have to take the differences of nearest values. It's not mandatory you have to take the extreme values because those extreme values should contain the factors of these two differences. That's why we are not taking that extreme values. If you're taking the difference between the extreme values, that's not a problem. That won't make any change in the result. So here, after that, this divisor, such largest divisor, that is the HCF of the difference between these two values. Got it? So here we got the differences like this. Or we can conclude it like this. This is the largest among them, 44,333 minus 28,421. And this 28,421 minus this first value, that is 12,288. So this is the trick behind this question. But again, that's a challenging thing. How to find out the HCF of these two numbers? It will take time. So which method you will follow to find out the answer of this question? There, again, we can consider the logic. If we are taking the difference between these two values again, so what is the difference between these two values? Definitely, the remainder should lie in such a difference. So for doing this operation conveniently, here we have 4 unique values as the options. in such a situation, you can apply this method. So I'm taking the difference between these two values, that is 16133 minus 15912. So here find the difference. This is 1, this is 2, this is 2. So we got the difference as 221. What's the conclusion here? We cannot simply say that divisor is 221 exactly. Only the conclusion that divisor is a factor of 221. The rest all depends upon the set of options. If the options have any factor of 221, then we will be in a confused state. But fortunately, there is only one option satisfying this condition. Got it? That is 221. So don't forget that final point. That's very important. Whenever we'll get the final difference as 221, we cannot simply conclude that. So that is 221 itself is the answer. So the conclusion is that HCF or that divisor is a factor of 221. So factor of 221 means there are so many possibilities, right? If 221 have so many factors, so then up to 1 it's possible. Clear? Suppose 221 is a prime number, then which are the factors of 221? 1 and 221 only. But in the given set of options, we don't have any such confusing type of options. Therefore, the first one is the answer. So it's such a lengthy question. Understand or conclude that point, how to do it. Our first part, you just find out the difference of nearest numbers. So if we are able to find out what is the HCF of those two differences, that will be the answer. Otherwise, again take the difference of those differences. So then that divisor should lie in that number. So with the help of the options, we can find the answer. So then the 23rd question here. In a science course, all students are offered at least one of the subjects, namely mathematics, physics, and chemistry. So here it's a question from one diagram. So here mathematics, physics, and chemistry. So this is mathematics, physics, and chemistry. Got it? So then we just consider these numbers. 54 students took mathematics, where we have to put this value. We just put it here, 54. So never write inside the circular regions here. And 51 took physics, so that is 51. And 66 took chemistry, 66. Clear? 33 took mathematics and physics, stay there. 30 took physics and chemistry. 39 took mathematics and chemistry. But we have to take the last given information, that is 24 took all the 3 subjects, where we have to put that value. 24 took all the 3 subjects. Got it? Then we have to consider it. So here 33 took mathematics and physics. Consider which region represents mathematics and physics. This region represents mathematics and physics. Out of those 33, we already plotted 24 here. So what is the remaining quantity here? 9 students here. Got it? Got the logic clearly? So this entire two regions together will make that 33. Already we inserted 24 here, rest 9 will be here. Then the second one, 30 took physics and chemistry. Physics and chemistry. Out of those 30, 24 is here, rest 6 will be here. And 39 took maths and chemistry. So out of this 39, 24 is here, rest 15 is here. So that's the distribution. Then we can easily catch what is the rest of the regions here. So here, how to find out it? So for getting this one, that is the maths only region. For finding that maths only region, you have to subtract the sum of these 3 values. Sum of these 3 values, 9 plus 24 plus 15 from 54. What it will become? So this is equal to 9 plus 24 plus 15. So this will be equal to 15 plus 9, 24, 24 plus 24, 48. So 54 minus 48. So that's equal to 6. Therefore, this region is 6. So look at the options where we have the value start with 6, only one option, but we have none of these. Therefore, we have to consider the rest of the values. Then physics alone, here we just consider that as 51 minus sum of these three values. So that is 9 plus 24 plus 6. So this is equal to 39. So 39 plus 12 will be equal to 51. Therefore 12 is here. And the third one, that is 66 minus sum of these three values. So that is 15 plus 24 plus 6. So this is 21 plus 24. So it's equal to 45. 66 minus 45. So that's equal to 21. So we got these three values. These regions are, this is 12 and this is 21. So that is the first option. So that is 6, 12 and 21. So this is the Venn diagram application. Now move to the 24th and the second last question. Two pipes X and Y can fill a tank in 20 minutes, 30 minutes respectively. A third pipe Z can empty the tank 40 minutes. Pipes X and Y are kept open initially. After 5 minutes, pipe Z also opened. In how much time the tank is full? For these types of efficiency-wise questions, you just consider, first you have to frame the efficiency-wise relationship between these quantities. Here, this inlet pipe X, Y is an inlet pipe, Z is an outlet pipe. Got it? So the time taken by X, that is 20 minutes, and Y, that is 30 minutes, and Z also we have to include here, that is 40 minutes. So you just think about the LCM of these three quantities, 40, 30 and 20. What will be the LCM here? So that is 120. So I just consider, this is the LCM of 20, 30 and 40. Then this 120, you have to consider that as the capacity of this vessel or the tank. That is 120 liter. So therefore, this 120 liter can be filled by the first pipe alone in 20 minutes. That means it can fill 6 liter per minute. So the second pipe can fill 4 liter per minute. And the third pipe can empty 3 liters per minute. Got it? So that's the logic. So whenever we are considering the first two pipes, inlet pipes are working together, they can fill 10 liters per minute. But if all the three pipes working together, that is 10 minus 3, 7 liters per minute is filling the tank. Then we are moving to the second step. After 5 minutes, pipe Z also joined. That means for the first 5 minutes, this pipes X and Y started the work. Got it? That's first 5 minutes. Plus, so next n minutes we just consider. At this point of time, so Z also be there. X plus Y minus Z, because Z is an outlet pipe. We are considering that. That's a negative efficiency. So this will be equal to the total quantity or the capacity. That's equal to 120. You just put the values of the efficiencies here. What is X plus Y? X plus Y is 10. So that is 5 into 10. 5 into 10 here. Plus, so this is n into 7. Whenever we are considering them together, that is n into 7. That is 120. So this is 7n is equal to 120 minus 50, which is equal to 70. So what is the value of n? N is equal to 10. That means further 10 minutes, and further 10 minutes, the tank will be completely filled. So here the question expected that thing. Suppose if the question is asking about the total time taken for the entire activity, that is this 10 minutes and the initial 5 minutes, the answer will become 15 minutes, but there is not any option like that. Therefore, we have to consider that the question is asking about the further required time to fill the remaining quantity of or remaining capacity of the tank. And we can move to the final question of the quantitative session. So this is, a man bought some bananas at the rate of 5 for rupees 4 and sold all of them at the rate of 4 for rupees 5. The gain or loss person. That's an interesting question from profit and loss. So it's a tricky one. What you have to consider is a rate problem. You just consider like this. Cost price of here 5 bananas. Cost price of 5 bananas is rupees 4. Similarly, the selling price of 4 bananas is rupees 5. So this is the situation. So what it means, it's a rate. he purchased a certain number of bananas at this rate. Never misinterpret that he actually purchased an exact number of 5 bananas as per the given rate and sold exactly 4 among them at the given rate. That's not the meaning of the statement. He purchased a certain number of bananas. So therefore, we have to consider the profit percentage through, we have to equate these two quantities together. So how we can equate these two quantities? So there's 5 and 4. We have to equate those two quantities because that will give the inference that we purchased equal number of quantities. For that purpose, I just multiply this first equation entirely by 4. So this into 4. And second equation entirely by 5. So what will happen here? So this we can write the steps again like this is cost price of. This is cost price of 5 into 4, that is 20 bananas. So that's equal to 4 into 4 is equal to rupees 60. Similarly, selling price of, this is 5 into 4, that will be equal to 20 bananas, equal to 5 into 5, that will be equal to 25. So now the quantities are equal. Here 20 and this is 20. So which is the quantity, that's not a matter. Only the thing we have to equate those two quantities. And these values are the prices representing the cost price and selling price. So based on that prices, we can catch it. This is 16 plus 9. So that means you have to consider it. This as cost price. This as profit. Got it? Because the selling price is 25. So as per this conclusion, what is profit percentage? 9 out of 16 into 100. 9 out of 16 into 100. So this way we can reach the conclusion. And I will give you the most easiest approach towards similar type of question. This is the concept behind this question. We have to equate these two numbers. So there is an operational tricky approach towards such a question. So that's the same thing. Here, whenever we will get similar type of question, what do you have to do? First of all, you just write the step like this. Cost price of 5 bananas. So that is equal to rupees 4. And selling price of 4 bananas. That is rupees 5. Then you have to simply multiply these two values together. So this is 4 into 4. That is equal to 16. Multiply these values together. That is 5 into 5 is equal to 25. Then after this multiplication, if these two values have any common factors, you can simplify them. But here we don't have any common factors. Then you have to consider the 16 as cost price. 16 as cost price and 25 as selling price. Then take, this is the profit. So profit is 9. So then what is profit percent? So that is 9 by 16. Don't forget, we have to keep cost price as the base. 9 by 16 into 100%. So what it is, we know that 1 by 16. What is 1 by 16? 1 by 8 equal to 12.5. So therefore, 1 by 16 is equal to 6.25. So 9 into 6.25, like that you can do. Otherwise, what you have to do, you just simply divide this 900 by 16. Got it? So that's simple logic. After doing these operations, what you will get? This is equal to 56.25%. 56.25% profit. Got it? So that is our answer. So therefore, the answer is 56.25%. Suppose we just consider, if you're facing difficulty for doing these types of operations, you just simply observe this value 9 by 16. Anyway, this 9 is more than half of 16. What is half of 16? That's equal to 8 only. So this is more than that value. Therefore, the answer should be more than 50. So therefore, only one possible option here. And this is again, therefore, we can rule out this loss condition. So here we have to conclude it easily that 56.25 instead of doing the calculations of this kind of final step of operations. So these are the important set of 25 questions. Hope you all got some of the strategical approaching styles towards these all questions and some of the very important concepts also. Right now we can wind up. Thank you.